there, y'all. This is Lauren from Mama's Learning Corner, and I'm so glad that you have stopped by today to watch this video on my new YouTube channel. I've gotten so many emails and responses that that you love this new format for Mama's Learning Corner. So if you have something that you'd love to hear me talk about, or like my opinion on, or have a question about curriculum that we've used, please feel free to email me and I'll try and put one of those videos in the queue. So today I wanted to talk to you about my strategy and tips for those weeks when, like, just things are out of control. You have way too many busy things on the calendar. And there are things that you can't really put off or postpone or, or even cancel. They're things that you have to do. We have one of those weeks coming up. In fact, the past 2 weeks and the next 2 weeks are some of our busiest weeks of the year. I don't know how that happened at the end of summer. Well, yes, I do. This happens every year at the end of summer. So, which is why part of the reason why we start school, right after July 4th. Is because I know we've got this big chunk of time where school isn't going to really look like what I want it to, and so we just kind of got to make do. So this coming week, I'll just give you a little glimpse, and you can see what exactly is on my plate. This coming week, we will be partially hosting a family reunion, our annual family reunion, and that's going to be starting this weekend, Friday, in fact. And my husband and I will have the whole crowd, which is 35 people, over Saturday morning for breakfast. And I'm looking so forward to it. I like to cook for a big crowd, so that'll be fun. However, that means my house needs to be clean, like clean for 30 people to be here, which is a little overwhelming because if you're like me, you homeschool, you live in your home. It's a very lived-in home. And that's different than people that are outside of their home all day. There's just more chance for it to be dirty and cluttered when you live here all day. So I've got that going on. We've also got a couple of extra violin lessons that we can't miss that were make up from when our teacher was out. So that's a chunk of time. And we also need to do school 2 days this week. We can't really push school off this week. Other times I would, but we can't for various reasons this week. So I've got several things going on, and I've got to figure out how to make that run smoothly without me being cranky. Because I will tell you, my default is to be really cranky and crabby and grumpy, and I feel so mad that we're out of routine. I'm a really routine-driven kind of person. I know, just a quirk. But I feel cranky and crabby that we're out of routine, and if it goes on for a really long time, weeks on end, I'm just kind of a bear to live with, and I know that, and it's not a good character trait. So, typically when my time is this tight and I feel like there's no breathing room, which is really what makes me crazy. I feel like there's no breathing room and I feel suffocated and I can't stand it, honestly. When I'm like that, I know that I'm very hard to live with, and I'm snappy and my tone is not nice. So I'm trying really hard to head that off this time. After this week is finished, we're going to be out of town for a week, and we'll be in and out. But, that presents its own set of challenges, being out of routine to that degree. So my next 2 weeks are tough, and they're all fun things to do. It's not like, we're out digging ditches. I mean, we're having a good time. It's just me being able to wrap my brain around what does this look like for my family, for the next couple of weeks when there's pretty minimal downtime for me. So I'm going to tell you the couple of things that I'm doing to make sure I don't blow it and I'm not mean, because that's not what I want to do. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do to ensure that I'm not a grump is to pray over my whole entire scenario. The Lord knows that I have all this on my plate. He knows how much I have to get done. He knows what my house looks like and that it needs some serious attention. He knows I need to homeschool my kids and do it well. And He knows that I want to be the best mom and wife I can be in that whole time without letting my attitude get the best of me. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I have my quiet time every single day. First thing in the morning, get up early and just do it. I know that I will be refreshed if I can force myself to get up early and do it. I will be the first to tell you that in years past, months past, that would be one thing I would skip. I would think, oh, that is just 30 minutes out of my day that I could spend doing something else. So surely it's going to be all right if I just, pass on my quiet time and my prayer life for this week. But that was one of the dumbest things I did. So thankfully, the Lord has completely changed my attitude and my perspective on what that's like. So I'm very grateful that that now I am wise enough and spiritually mature enough to see that that has to be the first start of my day. Like, things are going to go better for me if I can start with prayer. Now, the second thing that I do is, or I did already, I made a list of absolutely all of our must-dos for the week. The things that we have to do that I can't cancel, I can't postpone, the things that we have to do. I have to get my house clean for all these people. I have to do the grocery shopping for the meals that we're going to prepare. That has to be done. I have to make sure that my daughter's at her violin lessons this week. Those can't be postponed. I have to make sure that we do 2 full days of school this week and that I do it well with a good attitude. So these things are on my plate. I know it. And if I can see them in writing, I'm such a visual person. If I can see them in writing, like, I can keep them in the forefront of my mind and I don't get distracted by other things. And it just it helps me be able to figure out how I'm going to tackle them in chunks. And so then that is the next thing that I do. My next step is to make sure I know what these deadlines are. What time exactly are the violin lessons? What is my travel time associated with that? What exactly are we going to accomplish in our homeschool this week? Like, I just sat down and I spent an hour planning our homeschool for these 2 days. I needed to condense some things. I needed to postpone a few things, push it off to the next week, which is totally fine. That's one of the reasons we homeschool. I needed to pick the books that we're going to read. So I sat down for an hour. I saw what those deadlines are going to look like for homeschool. Needed to figure out when I was going to buy the food for our reunion. Needed to, oh gosh, this is the one that's kind of hanging over my head. The deadline for getting our house clean. So that's really the biggie. That's the one that feels really overwhelming to me. And so part of that is figuring out when I'm going to do that. So what are the deadlines for these must-do events that I've got going on? So the next thing I do is I take my trusty spiral notebook that I got for $0.25 at Walmart while they were on sale. Love these. I buy like 10 or 20 of them, really like 20, at the beginning of the school year, and I just use them all the time. Love them. It's like a brain dump for me. It's where my meal planning goes. Occasionally I put my homeschool plans in here. When the Lord puts a verse in my mind during the day, I come and write it down. Love these. Now, if you read a post of mine a few weeks ago, it said it was for a 7-day calendar. And I suggested that you go in and write down everything that you do, in like 15, 30-minute increments for the day. And I was very upfront that there is no way in the world I am going to schedule my life in like 30-minute increments. I mean, because then surely we will fail and I'll feel like a big loser for the day. I just don't need that. So we definitely have more of a routine and rhythm to our day. But the whole point of that calendar was to see where you spend your time and see if there's chunks of time that you're wasting during the day that you need to devote to something else. However, I took that same principle, that 30-minute time, and just for this week, and maybe even just for Monday and Tuesday when we do school, I wrote down in like 30-minute increments, can you see this? Or maybe a week, an hour increment, what exactly we are going to be doing in our homeschool. Because I had to condense a few things. I want to make sure everybody gets their time in. I have 4 children, 5th grade, 3rd grade, 1st grade, early kindergarten. They all really require a lot of my time still. Not a whole lot of independent stuff. My 5th grader is somewhat independent, as independent as he can be. But my girls, not so much, so they still require a lot of my time. So I want to make sure that everybody gets what they need in those 2 days of homeschool. So I plugged in like 30, 45-minute, hour increments to make sure we get everything accomplished that's on my to-do list. Of course, there's grace along the way. If we don't get everything checked off my list, I'm not totally fine with it. I'm okay with it. A couple of years ago, I would have been out of my frame about it, but I'm not now. I know that this is just kind of how life is. You can rearrange things and postpone as you need to. But my goal is to be as productive with those days as I can be. So you can either do something like this where you write down just little increments of time, or you're welcome to go download that 7-day calendar. It's the whole week in 30-minute chunks. And so you can schedule yourself to that degree. I don't recommend scheduling yourself to that degree all the time. Like for me, like I totally consider this to be like very intentional survival mode kind of time. So I will only do it for this week and maybe only for Monday and Tuesday. But it's just to help me be like laser focused on my goals for the week because I don't have time to mess around. So, okay. And then one of the biggest things I can do this week is to make sure that my kids help me. Now, I know that there are many, many of you that have little kids that cannot help you. If your kids are 5 years old and younger, especially if you have multiple kids, there's really just not a whole lot they can do to help you because you're still in that mode of pick this toy up, put these toys here, help mom do this. Everything is just so step-by-step direction that it almost doesn't, like there's times to train and then there's times just to get it done. And I'm a big believer in training because I'm starting to see the fruit of that. But, there's times that you just need to plow through and get things done. So fortunately for me, my children are old enough to help. So, at least my oldest two are very capable of helping me. And so everybody has a list. I usually write it on an index card. These are the top 3 things that you need to do right now. Take your index card and go do them. But, I've spent a lot of time in training in years past to get us to this point. So I'm going to make sure my kids help me, especially when it comes to that cleaning house, time. Okay, and the last big tip that I have that is, if you're having a crazy week like I am going to, is to make sure that if you have ever desired to meal plan and haven't done it, make sure that this is the week you do it. It does not have to look nice and pretty. Just put it on your little, put it in your notebook. In fact, I'll show you one of mine, and they are not pretty meal plans at all. I mean, it's just very, very functional. So this is one from a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a few weeks ago. But it doesn't have to be pretty. And it's just really simple. Breakfast, lunch, dinner on Monday. This is what we're having for breakfast. Please don't make it hard. Do not choose this week to make some new recipe you've got your heart set on. Make sure it's stuff that you're going to have in your pantry or in your fridge, easily accessible. If you eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day this week, that is okay. That's going to be okay if you have that every day for lunch. This is just this is more of a being very intentional time. And then once you get past this little season of busy, this little week of busy or day of busy, if that's what it is for you, then you can go back to maybe just being more experimental in the kitchen or choosing things that are harder or, but this isn't the week to make it hard. Make it really easy on yourself. Very easy on yourself. If you are a person that cooks for the freezer, this is the week to eat every one of them. You can fill it up at a different time. But definitely make meals easy on yourself. I even plan snacks. I know that sounds kind of extreme, but when I have 4 kids asking me at 10:30 in the morning, what are we going to have? What are we going to eat? What are we going to do? What are we going to eat? What is there to eat? I get tired of that question. I'm going to say, today is Monday. We are having gluten-free pretzels and cheese. Or today is Tuesday. We are having peanuts and carrot sticks, or whatever it is that we're going to have. But I try to make it as easy as possible, and mostly that's just for my own sanity, more than anything else. So the last thing that I wanted to say about having a just really busy week where there's things that you can't skip or postpone or cancel, this is what life is going to be for the next little bit. I am very intentional in not overscheduling our family. I work very, very hard to make sure that it is a rare event when we are this busy. And I've written several blog posts on that, why it's so important to me for us to have a simple schedule as a family. And you can go and read those. And in fact, I might do a video on that in the next couple of weeks, why it's so important for us to have a simple schedule. When we are this busy, like we don't have as much time to enjoy each other, tempers tend to get a little quicker, mostly mine. And you know, it's just our family just prefers a slower pace than this. We are not people that thrive on busy. In fact, busy makes me crazy. So this for me is a pretty rare event. So if you're looking for how to make your days more slow, so this type of crazy week is, you know, a rare event for you too. I'll make sure that I link to those at the bottom of this video so you can go and read those. I think there's some really good ideas and some thought-provoking questions about whether you really need to be this busy all the time, because I don't. And besides the fact that it's a personality issue for me, like I just really prefer routine and mundane. I know I'm a boring person. I'll be the first to tell you. Like even though I prefer those things, there's bigger reasons than that, which is one of the jobs I see as a mother and the caretaker of my family, to make sure we're not this busy all the time. So I'll make sure I link to those. So what kind of tips do you have when you are going to have a week that you know is packed? So what do you do? I'd love to hear about them in the comment section. But keep in mind, this is my week this week, so make sure you go ahead and leave them, you know, soon, because I need to read them. And plus, I just like to see how other families do things. And then surely I'll have another crazy busy week, you know, coming in the next, you know, several months, and then I can use your tips too. So I know that many of you are have lots more wisdom than I do, so please share it in the comments. I'd love to chit chat with you about it there. And I'd love to see you over at Mama's Learning Corner. The URL is www.mamaslearningcorner.com, or you can email me, mama, M-A-M-A, at mamaslearningcorner.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you have topics for videos, I'd love to hear that too. And I'm so grateful that you have taken the time to stop by Mama's this week, and I look forward to seeing you.